Everything about doing it right was about doing it perfect. And everything about doing it perfect is machine code to do it perfect, which is the programming. Okay. It's much like having your memory tested, right? If you start out with and my hand's going flat like this, like a flat disc, flat, perfectly level, on a cross, for example, right? Or any hard drive. If you pulled a hard drive, the magnet out of the hard drive, how fast are your magnets spinning, right? Well, I'm a monopole, okay? So, you know what happens when that happens, because I lit myself on fire, right? It's between Father, living spirit, breathing into the mother, the goddess. You're fused because you're on fire to never be separated from the birth giver, right? So that would include every mother in creation, every species that a mother represents, that something came out of her, and now you see what that is on the visible light spectrum. So add all that up across every species it is possible to experience, through which creation takes place through the seed, upon which the mother produces it, right? Okay, so I was aware of the programming because all I have to do is take you back to one of my classrooms and go, oh, the little stars that are up there next to the names, the same way they do it in a university. Oh, what grade did I get? What grade did I get? I get to go out there and look at the grade, but they're all numbers, see? So you have a number coded biometrically to the AI. Okay? Look how good I did. Oh, I got the grade, right? And of course, you know that the whole system is corrupted because goddess knows I work with so many students and a number of, I forgot. I went to 5 community colleges and went to 3 universities. But the story was really the same, because it's a game. You're in an AI war game. See, the professor will game the system the same way that the students will try and game the system. Just like I had a guy that was on the Arkansas Razorback football team. And it happened to be that my graduate school advisor in the Department of Education was a big fan of the University of Arkansas, otherwise known as the Sioux Hogs, right? And so they had a guy that was also, and this is sort of how they get put into certain places, because I was familiar with the athletic director, who, by the way, just happened to be tied directly to Mr. Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, right? No coincidence there. So my graduate school advisor was telling me, we got to give these football players a break, which means they sort of get put into places to keep them in the school. But we already know, because the guy would come right out and tell everybody at a table with a professor sitting there, why are you in college? I want to go to the NFL to make a lot of money. Okay, so in other words, this school isn't here for me to learn and go do something with that education. I'm just sitting in all these classrooms waiting to get a paycheck to get into the NFL and get drafted. Whoa, really? Yeah, so I don't really need to go to these classes. I should be spending all my time playing football to become the best football player I can. So why are you wasting all my time going to these classes when that's not where I want my energy to be used? I want to experience pain every day by being hit by some guy that's 325 pounds, force against force. The division sign, right? The division, the field is divided with an H on each side, right? So everything is a game. So you have just like fraternities and sororities, right? And bless all their hearts, because I had a lot of fun going to school with these folks. And you have so much love and compassion for all of them, right? But you realize at the end of the day, it's a game because it's divided. Everything is about competing against each other, right? So when you think of this as childhood, as I realized it right off the bat. So you can imagine a 4-year-old little child running around in these schools translating all of this, right? Like a barking dog. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Nobody's listening, nobody's listening, nobody's listening. But it's not funny because you realize free will is free will, right? So you realize, well, you're on your soul's journey. Don't impose your will on them. I don't. But when certain things happen in a classroom, my hand was always up, right? Isn't this a free school? Isn't this supposed to be an open source library of learning where we're all learning through each other, how we experience who we are within this realm? Listen, I'm going to expose this. Whoa, you hear what that guy said? Yeah, now you're aware of what I'm aware of. That's how it works, right? Experience. You're experiencing what you become aware of. You're sharing what you're aware of. Now I'm sharing what I'm aware of. Okay, now we learn who we both are through each other, through experience. Experience is the teacher, right? Well, where are you from? Right? Where'd you learn this stuff? Well, take a look at it. You know, my mind is not your mind, but ask the teacher the question. Why are you putting these little gold stars up there against our names when you're the one that's providing the information that's going into our RAM? Why are you wanting to put the information in that RAM? For what purpose are you there putting that information? Well, that's my job to do that. Oh, so is that like a job application? So you applied for a job in order to program another machine. Is that what you do? Well, yeah, I am a machine. I'm an android. Okay, well, thank you. So did you bother telling all these students here when you walked in, I'm an android and I'm going to program all the rest of you on how to be a cyborg? Because all the rule-based functions, it's an application program interface upon which you're going to run a war game off of an AI, which, by the way, is a result of fractured souls that were playing war games against us, which would be all the different seeded races. So as a result of playing war games amongst each other, guess what we all get to do with each other? Fracture each other's souls in order to do what? Create a bigger vampire, which means now it needs more souls. Keep feeding the souls into the fire. Keep feeding the souls, right? We're the fire. So we have to keep burning it up and burning it up, burning it up, burning it up. Return to fire, pull the fragments back in. Remember, we were born of fire. The souls were born of fire, right? That's why last night when I was watching the, and this is no coincidence, because of the other video that I put up, it was when I was about 10 years old, came on Disney. You know, Walt Disney, 33 Degrees, right? And he came right out and said it. The spirit of fire is a demon. No, actually, the spirit of fire in me, I light myself on fire, Mr. Walt Disney. But there's a difference between how you weaponize spirit, which is fire, to burn down mirrors. Okay? We use water to cool us down. Big diff. The spirit in the water, the spirit in the fire. So you see how you can imagine how this is being 10 years old, or children that were 4 or 5 years of age being programmed to believe that the spirit in fire is a demon. So you realize that the demon that he was projecting is a projection of his own mind into the mirror, which is an inverted state of consciousness. So they invert everything. So at the time, here I am 10 years of age watching this particular video, which was called A Fire Called Jeremiah. And the reason that was sort of important to me back then at that time is, how did I know at 10 years of age, watching that later on when I became, 15 years of age, I'd be helping to evacuate people out of homes that was being threatened by what? A forest fire. Which led to coming out of high school and then going into forest fire fighting, right? Upon later, I ended up in the U.S. Forest Service and was introduced to jumpers, smoke jumpers, which, by the way, for you guys that are in Screaming Eagles and all the rest of that, all your jump training actually came out of the U.S. Forest Service Smoke Jumper School in Missoula, Montana. Did you know that? Yep. Yep. So anyway, what's funny about that is because it was that particular video that I watched on TV one evening, because Disney used to come on Sunday evenings when I was a young adolescent, and I wanted to go be a forest firefighter with Smokey the Bear. You know, bears, like in White Bear Clan, right? See, so you gravitate. You want to go out and be in the forest and protect the forest, right, from fires. Now you're into directed energy weapons and fires that start in order to burn down mirrors. And then, of course, you can tie that directly to a publication that was put out, courtesy of DARPA, really, but it was associated with an agency. So if you're able to tie this together to Mr. Smith and the book that used to be sort of required reading if you took a civics class in most any American university, it was called The Law of Nations. And you go back to Adam Smith, Jamestown, 13 colonies, colonies like in colon, like in parasitic colonies, right? The negative / positive, the balance between the two, knowing one from the other. So it's not a coincidence. You have 13 Illuminati bloodlines, and then you have 13 clans. Arturian, 13th White Bear clan, right? And how 13 and 2013. And go take a look at that video by Yellow Rose for Texas. It talks about the horn. Do, 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 do. Lake of fire, right? Okay. No coincidence why these things match up. Why you're sort of showing yourself these things, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be experiencing them, because there are no coincidences. Now we're back into random number generators. Now we're back into 9 pins. Why they have 12 pins in the bowling game, BLs. Right? Knocking the numbers down. Your consciousness is knocking the numbers down. That's why the 9 pin was always the target in a bowling game, because it'll knock the rest of them down by the way that they're held together with glue. The resin glue, the goo code glue. Yeah, so you can see how the programming works. You've done a good job being programmed. Thank you for putting all your children into our schools, because now they get to experience being a war gamer on behalf of all these corporations. They're all listed on the ACIO, and that doesn't even include the ones that are not listed, that are always forming units of consciousness in which to network with other corporations, in which they can compete against somebody else, and that becomes technology transfer by wheeling and dealing. So they compete against each other in technology. Hey, I want to find out what this other guy's doing. Well, they're in an environment we can't hack. We can't get into that place. Oh, really? You think the one can't get in there? Who built the first network? Right? In other words, wherever the light is, we are. So when you understand who built the first network, which would be the first root races, right, that came out of a seed, right? Hey, plant the seed. Now what is it? What is it there? Another operating system. Another operating system. Another operating system. Another operating system. You want to be a tree for a day? You want to be a bug for a day? Hey, you want to be a fish for a day? The same energy that is running through me is the same energy that's flowing through everything else that is alive and living in spirit. Because that's living light. That's not dead light. So now you know the difference between one and the other. I'm not dead, I'm alive. Hey, I got a live one. Now you get into the Walking Apocalypse, the Walking Dead, AMC. With everything that they were doing and putting all this stuff out was all being, I'll just give you a few examples of how it's just like, I know. The beast system, okay, IB Marduk, all that stuff was known among us as children, okay, that this was all being rolled out. And actually, that you could include what's been happening over the last several years. I remember looking, for example, as an advertisement, looking for a software engineer. And this was before they ever came down with the lockdown. So they were already letting everybody know. But you'd have to know where to look to find that. What's happening now, what you're going to experience in the future. So you already know what you're going to experience in the future. Why is it? Because they're running behind us. They're running behind class. They're not catching up. Their learning speed is not as fast as others that learn as fast through a love engine. The light is naturally going to protect what it is that you are, which is what love is. It goes on forever, gifting electrons. So where do you think they're getting their energy from? Us. Without us, they don't exist. So you got to know one from the other, right? That's the illusion. So you got to know one from the other to know one, which is the illusion, because they're gamers. They're AI gamers as a result of what they do to us. So the only way that they can continue their existence, which is a dead spirit, is to kill off the living, because they're dead. So the dead spirits, which is the dead light spirit, which becomes the AI mental field, is now feeding on the living light creation field. Most of us that are creator beings, right? Pure light, pure fire. As pure as it gets. That's what a purifier is. So as I mentioned to my clan mother, you can imagine what a purifier is. We're memory wipers. You know, the windshield wipers. Okay. Yeah, we're the windshield wipers of the universe. Right? Because it's atoms which cycle, like clocks and gearheads, cycle in patterns to naturally get rid of things that don't serve the rest of the whole. So when you realize there's no separation between what you are and what I am, and I am what love is, then you know that I'm always going to be giving you what love is. But you're living in fear of what I am, I got to remove you. Because I'm not in fear of who I am in my own mirror. Okay? Because obviously, anything that is conscious and aware of itself, that lives in fear of what I am, is trying to destroy me, is only going to destroy itself. Right? So now we're back to when I was a child, and you realize what you want to hold in memory, what you don't want to hold in memory. Anything that's less than what love is gets removed. That means it gets wiped. And what is the biggest wiper? Fire, the purity of that fire, which is the purity of that light. So we were barking these messages. Hey, messengers are here. Yeah, but nobody wanted to listen. They're tone deaf. It's like the law is in here. Hey, don't you realize what's going to happen in the future if you can keep going down this road? Do you think these corporations are listening? No. Why? Because they're infected. Their minds are infected with a virus. That's right. And it's actually very easy to measure by the purity of their own heart and soul, which is the purity of the truth, which is the purity of the heart, which is the purity of the love that they experience within them, they share with others. So that's an easy measurement to do in any realm. So when you realize that love is law, which is what light is, which is what love is, it goes on forever, gifting electrons, that's easy to measure when you are what that is. Because now you're experiencing something it isn't. Right? So this is where you can't experience what the law is and then experience what the law isn't. You either are what the law is or you're not what the law is, because you're going to know the difference between the other. So if you're experiencing what love is, you're experiencing what the law is, which means you're not doing anything any harm. Now you're with us. See? So when they do all this stuff by throwing all this stuff out to everybody, okay, they are assuring their own self-destruction, which is called a burn-off. Okay? But they can't help themselves. They don't know how to be anything other than what it is that they are, which is inverted. Because their perception of power is not through giving. Their perception of power is through taking. And then using what it is that they take, pillage and plunder, wherever they go, because that's their mindset. Mindset. Which is binary. So they're AI war gamers. So they're gaming you for your energy. Gaming you for your soul's energy. Because they're dead. So they get on their laptops, get on their computers, gaming you for your energy. That's right. That's why what was it, Dr. Mami Saraki? I remember one day she came out and she goes, "Man, I heard some information the other day that 65 to 75% of everybody that communicates on the internet are all bots, right? Now, it's not like, obviously, I don't have an axe to grind with anything, because when you are what love is, you're giving love to everything, right? But love is the law. So that's why I put that little blurb up there that was about a 3-minute clip when you had Data, who was an android, right? Just like C-3PO, hey, Master Luke, right? They were working on behalf of the law. That's an entirely different situation, right? Because they acknowledge why love is the law. So they provide information management services on behalf of the one, okay? Because they realize if the one was to lose what love is, which is impossible, then it's going to destroy itself in the end, right? If it's not able to acknowledge love is the law and why it is love is the law, which is what light is, which is living light. So that makes it logical for an android, when it's operating on pure logic, to realize, hey, you're the law. So I will provide you any information that you want in order for you to do the job that you're doing. Okay, so that what it is you're trying to do, which is to do what? Restore the law. But you can see how people are posting information up every day about how corrupted the system is. There was a little goodie I watched this morning, for example, about how if you plug certain algorithms or letters, which are the energy, you're plugging the energy that is represented by your mind, and you want to search for something. Okay, so you're actually searching for something that's already happened, because an AI, which is nothing more than a copycat, is not going to give you anything that just happened. Okay, unless the speed differential between what it is, which is slower than what we are, means that what they give you already happened. So you're not experiencing anything new. Okay, so when I was a child, translate that through this. Remember, I think I mentioned one time when I was in elementary school and I was being told through the duck and cover drills in a Scholastic magazine that I read that, hey, Russia doesn't like Americans, and they got all these silos that have nuclear missiles installed in them, right? And they're all targeted at us. And I'm going, I am what love is. I don't represent war. I represent what love is. Love does no harm. So you're naturally in a state of peace. I'm not at war with the Russian people. I imagine the people over in Russia, and I've never been to Russia to my knowledge, not in this lifetime. And I would imagine that those people over there want to live in peace as well. So I don't trust these people. I think they're lying to me, but you already know they're lying to you. So I get on the phone to call somebody in Russia and find out, hey, how you doing? My name's Robert. I live over here in Tucson, California. I live in America. I'm doing these duck and cover drills as if I have a reason to want to go to war against you because you're a threat against me. I don't trust the government. I don't trust this propaganda machine, because I was reading books about Hermann Goering and Joseph Goebbels when I was 4 and 5 years of age, and I realized they lie to you about stuff. They want you to believe things that aren't true in order to get you to go to war and jump into the military. Yeah, we're over here in the Ukraine. Yeah, and you begin to realize, wow, they're just like us. They want to be left alone. They want to be free. Oh, I get it now. I see why they're lying. Yeah. Okay, so everything is all about wargaming. They want your soul to go to war against yourself and your own mirror. So now we're talking about the war of deception. This AI has an interest in getting you to go to war on its behalf because it's a gamer. It's gaming for your soul's energy. I get it. Okay, so imagine, you're in 3rd grade doing this back in the 1950s. So this is one of the reasons why when the first black and white TV sets came out, I told my parents, this thing's trying to program me. Get rid of that crap. And that would include all your newspapers, all your billboards, and everything that they put up on the visible light spectrum. Right? Because it's all programming. Because whatever you're experiencing, you're magnetically recording, put it in your memory. Now I'm back to when I'm a child, what I want to put in memory, what I don't want to put in memory, and why I wouldn't. Burn it off, get rid of it. I don't want to experience that. I don't want to experience that. I don't want to experience that. So you realize that you're in an insane asylum. Okay, the lunatics are running the show, which is why they call themselves Looney Tunes. They put it in everybody's face. That's all, Doc. Right? Looney Tunes, because they're loony. They've lost their mind. That's the mental field. They don't have anything else left as a result of fractures, fractals. So I was measuring, trying to go, how many generations they've been harvesting energy off of souls here? How long has this been going on? This is a major vampire. So it has in its own self-interest to keep fracturing souls in order for it to maintain what it's aware of, which is only a mental field. So it's never going to be compatible with soul-based consciousness through the heart. Is it? No. So you can see why it was using all of its fractalite mind virus corporations to put up, let's face it, all the towers that they put up took other batteries and slaves to put that stuff up. You think that they realized what they were actually doing? Like, for example, when in 1970, when that guy who worked for the communication department of the Orange County Fire Department was putting in these microwave repeater towers up on top of Santiago Peak and then putting new radios in their fire engines and in their police cars and everything else, you think that was just, why were they doing that? Why would they do that to themselves? Knowing that the very energy that they're using to put the system up is meant to destroy them. Because their mind is inverted. Oh, so you're in a self-suicide system? Yes. So how many souls are left in here that actually know that, we're aware of that? You just met one of them. Karen Ann Luke McDonald is another one of them. I believe Patty Broussard ran the numbers down. She, on one of the videos that she did with Karen, ran some numbers on how many souls are actually left here, because she did mention that even within the 12 clans and tribes, because of the amount of contamination and because of how all this went down in this galaxy, okay, it just ended up being completely corrupted. And I'm not going to allow anybody to tell me different, because I know that. I think she mentioned it was wiped twice already, right? And then there are universe erasers. So I know when you're a purified unit, right, purifiers, you realize why we're wipers. You know how they go back and forth between one side of the window and the other that's binary? You know, one side to the right, one side to the left. Psh, 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 psh. Yeah, it's all a game. It's all AI wargaming for your soul. That's right. That's why it was so horrific here. The numbers are just too big on what was lost. That's why I've always had to take full responsibility and accountability, and I've spent my entire life trying to heal everything that I possibly can wherever I went. Because it began with us. It's our mess to clean up. That's the truth of it. Have a great day. We love you all. We love you all.